This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the iPhone SE, the iPhone that was released out of cycle. Now, Apple's always had a hard time of it, basically, when they've tried to come out with the more affordable iPhone. They've done best when they've sold last year's model at a discount, but it's never been that much of a discount. They did try with the iPhone 5C. Some people made fun of the plastic fantastic design and all that. So what they've done is they brought back the iPhone 5 design, which honestly is my favorite design. It was the most distinctive. Nothing else looked like this. It was Leica-esque, as Steve Jobs said. Very easy to grip with straight sides. The drawback is it's only a 4-inch screen, and well, I'm not the target market for this. I like big phones. This thing is so teeny I can wrap my hand around it at least once over that. But some people want a small phone, and I think not so much that. This is for people who just want an affordable iPhone, but you don't have to compromise on the internals for a change. It used to be when you got the cheaper iPhone, which wasn't even that much cheaper, you got last generation internals, last year's camera or 2 years ago camera. This time you get the same Apple A9 CPU inside, 2 gigs of RAM, this same excellent 12 megapixel rear camera. There's some concessions other than the screen size. We're going to talk about that now. So you can just imagine Tim Cook saying, this is our most affordable iPhone ever. And it is. And it's actually a pretty good deal if you're okay with the small screen size. Going back to 4 inches might be hard for some folks, especially if you're crossing over from Android, where gosh, I can't even remember the last 4-inch phone. It's been so long. It's obviously a really good-looking phone, and it's available in 4 colors now. Originally, this design was only available in space gray and silver, but now you can get it in this rose gold that we have obviously here, and regular gold as well. It's a striking design. It feels like a quality piece in the hand, and it is nice that you can get an iPhone for $400, even the unlocked one if you want to get it. Well, seeing them in size order, it makes you wonder if SE stands for small edition, doesn't it? So iPhone SE right here, we have the iPhone 6S, and this is the iPhone 6S Plus. Obviously, the iPhone SE is tiny. And it's kind of funny. Like I said, I'm not the target market for this phone. I like big phones. I was the one who was wondering if I could make do with this small Samsung Galaxy S7, and look at how big it is actually compared to the iPhone SE. But you may be a small phone person, and that's cool, and that is totally up to you. The smaller part of the size equation that's really important for a lot of folks is the price. This starts at $400. They call it $399, but it's $400 for the 16 gig version. If you want 64 gigs, it is $499. Call it $500. Considering that Apple is still also selling the iPhone 6 for $549, that's a significant cost savings if you're cool with going with the older design and the smaller size. And like I said, for once you're not penalized by doing that in terms of the internals. You still get the Apple A9 clocked at 1.83 gigahertz in here. It benchmarks the same as the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus. It has 2 gigs of RAM just like those phones, so it's no slouch. And on the back, you get the same two-tone LED flash. You get 4K video recording, slow motion, and Apple's 12 megapixel camera with an f2.2 lens, the sapphire glass cover there, the 5-element lens. The camera quality is the exact same as the iPhone 6S, so we're not going to go over that in detail. It really is the same. The performance, the speed is the same. So what isn't the same other than obviously the physical dimensions and the physical design of this? The front camera on this is a 1.2 megapixel. It's the old FaceTime camera instead of the new 5 megapixel camera. So it's like older iPhones, which means it's not bad if you're using it for video chat. I've seen a lot worse, but it's certainly not super fantastic. Now, what other little gotchas are there that you're not going to get from the iPhone 6S here? Because of the price difference, you know you're not going to get everything. It's the first generation Touch ID sensor here. It does work with Apple Pay and for shopping on the Apple Store and all that sort of thing. A first generation sensor was still a really good one, so I don't think that's the end of the world. It's just not as preternaturally fast, like it's unlocking before you've even taking your finger off the sensor. There's no 3D touch on the screen. You can press and hold as long as you want and nothing exciting is going to happen. I'm not really too bothered by that either, honestly, because, well, there's not a lot of programs that have made seriously meaningful use of 3D touch yet. You are still going to get the performance of the iPhone 6S here, though. You can see our Geekbench 3 number, which is pretty much the same score that we saw, unsurprisingly, on the iPhone 6S. And here's our 3D Mark Ice Storm Unlimited score. Again, that's just like the iPhone 6S. So that part's good. The display is the old 1130 6 by 640 resolution IPS display with 500 nits of brightness, 800:1 contrast ratio, and that's still what Apple qualifies as Retina. That's the original Retina display with 326 ppi resolution. So it's an adequate resolution. Certainly, it's fine for the phone. The upside, though, is battery life. Battery life is really helped by having the smaller screen, even though you have the same processor and the same amount of RAM and potentially even the same amount of storage as you might have on a 6S. Just driving the smaller screen makes a difference, and this phone outlasts the iPhone 6S. In fact, it lasts a little bit longer than our 6S Plus, and that one is a real Energizer bunny. So, you know, battery life varies depending on what you're doing with it, but with average use, this has no problem making it through an entire day, which is refreshing these days. Now the camera on the back, again, is the same as the iPhone 6S, and you got the same exact software here, how you can use this side to switch between your aspect ratios, your controls right there. We have auto HDR. Again, it does slow motion, it does 4K video recording, and you can take still shots that are 8 megapixel in resolution while also recording video. It's quick, it's snappy, it's one of the better cameras on the market. It doesn't beat the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, and the LG G5 is going to give it some competition too, but still, it is one of the better ones that you can buy, and photos are quite nice and sharp, even with high dynamic range. The HDR does the job here and captures our crazy cat actually laying on his back for a change. So, for your $399, you're actually getting a very nice camera too. It has a nano SIM card slot. You use the Pokey tool right here to get the SIM in and out should you need to do so. Again, all major carriers are offering the phone, and if you want to buy it unlocked from Apple, you can. So that means it's not locked to any particular carrier. Here in the United States, of course, you can buy the carrier-locked version from Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. But if you buy the unlocked model, just talking about the unlocked model, that works on AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. It does not support Sprint's band, so the unlocked model won't work on Sprint. So who is this phone for? You know, I've actually asked myself, who is this phone for? Apple's attempts at affordable iPhones can sometimes be a little mysterious. This time around, obviously, the price point is the lowest yet, and it's for anybody who wants an iPhone pretty badly and really can't even go with those monthly payment plans. That can be kind of high for a current generation flagship model like the 6S or 6S Plus. It's actually a good phone in terms of battery life, in terms of processor performance, the camera, all that stuff is good. It really just comes down to whether you're cool with the older design, attractive though it may be. Like I said, it's my favorite design, and if you're cool with that smaller screen. So that's the iPhone SE, available now on every major carrier in pretty much every country, typical for Apple stuff. Starting at $400, even if you get the unlocked one. So that's not bad. You're getting a lot of phone in terms of specs and features for the price, at least the way Apple products run. But you're not getting a lot of phone physically because it is a smaller phone. So if you're style conscious, if your friends are going to say, hey, why you're toting the old design and all that sort of thing, it might not be the phone for you. But, you know, screw that. If you want an iPhone, you like the smaller size, you like the smaller price tag, this one's actually pretty good. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full written review and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos.